Hey everybody, welcome back to The Wealthy Sailor. I am John, and I'm going to take you through some stuff that's on my mind today. Today, I'm thinking about 401Ks. If you're a fan of the channel, you watch my other videos, you know that I love my 401K that my company provides, and I use it heavily. So I want to talk to you a little bit about why I believe in them so much, and how I use it to capitalize so much on my current goal of reaching $500,000 by the end of 2021. Roll the intro. You don't have an intro because you don't know how to make an intro. Oh yeah, that's right. Okay guys, no intro for today. So first, what is a 401k? So a 401k is actually named after the section and subsection of the tax code that makes them pretty much a thing. Section 401 subsection K. And it's pretty much an employer-backed savings account designed for people when they retire. So the thing is that back in the day, if you had a unionized job, you usually had a pension, but a lot of jobs did not have anything. So what lawmakers decided to do in their attempt to fix it, which isn't a bad attempt, they made some tax breaks for people who wanted to save. So one of the main benefits of a 401k is that when you put money into it, that money is deducted from your taxable income for that year, up to $19,000. So let's say you make $70,000. Well, if you put $19,000 in there, your now taxable income is only going to be $51,000, which could, for some people, really adjust how you're doing things that year for your taxes. For me, it doesn't really benefit me very much because although I am engaged, I'm not married, and although I have a son, he's technically my stepson, so I don't claim on my taxes. So I have no dependents, so it doesn't really matter much for me. But depending on the situation, it could make a whole bunch of difference on what you do. So keep that in mind with your 401k. I know one of the problems with me is that come tax season, I'm always trying to reduce the amount of money I'm actually taxed on. So if I was to put money into a 401k, that money is still my money. It still counts as my net worth, but it's not taxed. The idea is that you get taxed later when you pull it out, which is good for most people because for most people, they're going to make less money when they retire than they do when they're working. So to be taxed later simply means that they are going to be taxed when they're making less money, which means they get taxed at a lower tax bracket. So that could be beneficial for certain people under certain circumstances. So 401ks have a lot of benefits to them why I like it. My number one reason I like my 401k is because a lot of employers will match your contribution up into a certain amount. So for example, my current employer matches up to 6% of my paycheck, which means if I put 6%, they will also put 6%. That's amazing. That's like me getting a 6% raise for doing nothing because I'm not giving up any of that money going into my 401k. Yes, I can't use it to go out and buy a car tomorrow, but I'm not giving it up. It's still going into an account and it's going to grow on my behalf forever, which is also kind of why I like 401ks more than pensions. The thing is, if you work a job with a pension and you don't have a 401k, that's fine if you never leave that job. But as we're finding out now, especially with the millennial generation, is that it's been a lot more common that people switch careers. It wouldn't be uncommon for people to work maybe 5 or 6 different jobs, each one for like 6-7 years for their entire life, and so they never end up putting 40 or 50 years building cars at a manufacturing plant, so they never get that pension. But 401k follows you as an individual, so even if you leave your job, that 401k is still yours, and it's yours forever. Plus, it can be inherited. So if you pass away and you still have money there, your estate gets it, and by extension, kids, family, whatever, however you decide to do it. So it really has some very good benefits that I like. Now, something else you should know about 401k, a 401k is basically a retirement account, but it's not like a fund. Within your retirement account, you usually have different investments you make. I remember when I made my first 401k, I had to fill out a bunch of paperwork about what I wanted to invest in. And for me, I didn't really care very much, but I remember one woman I worked with, she did not want her money invested in any type of vices, no alcohol, no tobacco, nothing like that, which is her prerogative. For me, being an 18-year-old, I'm like, well, which one makes the most money? Yep, that's the one I want to do. So you can pick stocks, you can pick index funds, you can pick bonds, or you can pick combinations of it. They even have something called active investing. And that's something I would like to warn you on because I never had this before, but doing research for this really makes it kind of something I want to touch on. Active investing means you have somebody who watches over your accounts for you and they actively move things around to try to beat the market. So it doesn't go into index funds, it goes into different things that that person assigned to your account will handle. Here's the problem with that. Oftentimes these come with a lot of fees. If you think about it, you have an active guy, like you have a guy who's taking on your account, so he's going to collect his fees for it. And sometimes the fees get to 1.5 to 2%. John Oliver actually did a great special on different fees they had, and it's all about what they did when setting up their 401k, the John Oliver Show and his little people. So if you want to check it out, I definitely recommend it. I'm not getting sponsored or anything because John Oliver isn't going to pay me to pitch his show that gets like 20 million views a week on my little channel. But it does help you understand how the fees work, and they also explain something called fiduciary responsibility. Fiduciary responsibility means that they have an obligation to inform you if they're going to make money off something. So what some money managers do is that they will push you to invest in certain financial products, and they get kickbacks for investing in those products. Like annuities are a big thing where they can get, like, if they get you this, they get like 10% of whatever you put into an annuity. Not saying annuities are bad, I'm just saying that you need to do a lot of research into it, and that's probably going to be a different video because I don't really want to get into it right now. So then they be wary of fees. Fees, bad, get lowest fees possible. So invest in index funds, those are usually the best way to go. I've heard a lot of people talk about Vanguard. I do not have Vanguard, but apparently they have some of the cheapest fees around from my research. Okay, so you put money into a 401k, your employer matches it, and you get this money and you're sitting there and it builds for years and years and years, and now you want your money back. When do you get it? You can actually get it at any time, but you have to pay penalties. You have to pay a 10% penalty for taking it out, plus it counts as regular income if you're below 59.5. Once you reach 59.5, you don't get any of that, and you get the regular amount. You can take the whole thing out if you want, or you can get it into block payments, and you have to pay regular taxes on it. But the idea is that by the time you're retired, you're not working anymore, so you're going to have a much smaller income by then. Because even if the amount in your 401k is huge, like let's say it wouldn't be unreasonable to think you can retire with $500 to $1 million in a 401k. That's not unreasonable. But you're not taking all of that out at once. You're going to be retired. By then, hopefully, most of your credit card debts are paid off. Your home is mostly paid off. So when you take money out of your 401k, it just counts as income. So you only pay regular income tax on it, which isn't bad at all, really. Providing you're making less later than you are now. Now, there's a caveat to that. I have rental properties, which means that if I continue with what I'm doing, I'm actually going to make more when I'm retired than I am now. That's just the way it works. I'm going to have to pay a little bit more, but for the vast majority of people, it's actually a benefit to pay taxes later. Now, I'm going to reiterate this again because it's super important. In fact, I might try to figure out how to put it in big letters here. If your employer matches, please, as a personal favor to me, take the money. I know it's going to suck to suddenly have 5 or 6% of your paycheck go into an account for stuff, and you might need that money. But I can almost promise you that if you make the sacrifice now, you will definitely be grateful later, because you will be getting a free 4, 5, 6% of your paycheck for doing nothing. So if there's nothing else you take away from this video, always take the employer match, please. Okay, so another thing about taking the money back out. There are exceptions for the penalty and the tax, and that's if you have a hardship. I looked up what a hardship counts as, and it's kind of hard to define it based on what I saw, but I did see that if you have a disability or if you have medical bills, both of them count as hardships that will let you take money out. Now, if you take the money out early, you also have to pay regular income tax on it instead of long-term capital gains tax. So I think it's best that if you put money in your 401k, you just make peace with it being there, and it's not money for you yet, it'll be money for you later. So there are a few other cons, and one of them is that everything's based off, all my research was based off the current tax code and what I could find out about doing it today. The thing is that, I gotta be honest with you, none of us really have any idea what the tax code is going to be like in 20, 30 years. And really would kind of suck if that people put their money in there under the current tax code, and then years and years down the line something changes and now you're not reaching the benefits that you have. In my experience, that's not usually how it works, though. To be honest, usually when they make big negative differences to tax code or Social Security, they usually do it where anybody who's like of voting age isn't affected, and it sort of affects our children once they get older. And the reason they do that is because the older you get, the more likely you are to vote. So they're less inclined, all political parties are less inclined to do something detrimental to their voting base, because the older you get, the more you vote, and you're going to vote them out of office, and they don't want that. Another con for it is that you have to take it out in your 70s. Depending on how that works, how old you are, and how your situation is there, if it was me, I would probably just take it out and put it into a new investment, but that's just the way the law works. Okay, so that's pretty much all I have. At the end of the day, I really like 401Ks, and I really hope more people take advantage of them. They are one of the more beneficial retirement savings accounts that I've had, and they also made me a lot of money, and a lot of my net worth, the net worth I'm working on to get up by the end of next year, comes from my contributions to 401Ks. Because it's not taxed, and just because of the way I structured it, I just really like them. So I'm a big fan. Now, I'm not trying to give you financial advice because I'm not a financial planner. I'm just telling you what I do. So if you like my video, give me a like, a thumbs up, give me a subscribe. Thank you for stopping by, and keep saving, and I'll see you later.